The House Oversight Committee investigation identified 9 members of the Biden family who received payments from foreign sources. That includes Hunter, the president's brother, and even one of his grandchildren. Former acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker joins me now. It looks like there's no direct link to the president. He didn't receive money directly. Does that mean he's off the hook?
Well, it's good to be with you today, Stuart. And, you know, I don't think he's necessarily off the hook because, listen, all of these people are blood relatives or related to him through marriage. And each one of them was receiving very generous flow-through money through about 20 limited liability companies, millions of dollars from places like Romania, Ukraine, Communist China, all while Joe Biden was vice president. I mean, I think that is kind of a quintessential example of corruption, where families are enriched based on the service of one of their members. I think what the House is doing in not only revealing this but continuing to investigate it is important. The question is, where's the FBI when it comes to these payments to the Biden family from foreign countries and foreign actors?
I believe there is a separate either investigation or separate issue in which a whistleblower is saying Biden himself took money during his either vice presidency or actually in his presidency. Yeah. Is that accurate? Is there somebody out there saying that kind of thing?
Yeah, so this is a really interesting question, and that is that the FBI, again, based on whistleblower knowledge to Senator Grassley, my home state senator, this whistleblower is saying that Joe Biden received direct payments and that these payments were notified to the FBI from a whistleblower. They wrote down the information, but they never verified it. And so they're suggesting that because it was never verified, they don't want to put that information out into the world. I think that's a little concerning. I mean, if you remember during the Justice Kavanaugh hearings, they went to try to verify every allegation and every whistleblower. And so the question is, why wouldn't you go verify this allegation? It's pretty spurious and concerning, and so I think they should, run that to ground. I don't think they're going to, unfortunately.
Would you please address the immigration issue? The White House says it's Republicans who, quote, refuse to act on the border. Roll that tape. Let's see it.
The president has been dealing with a system that has been broken for decades, since day one. He put forth a comprehensive immigration plan, legislation, and he is using the tools that are in front of him to deal with the challenge that we're seeing at the border. And Congress, Republicans in Congress in particular, they literally refuse to act. They refuse to come to the middle and meet us at the middle and come up with a real solution.
Your Honor, is that legit to say that the Republicans, you blame the Republicans for an invasion? Is that a legitimate statement?
No, of course not. I mean, first of all, we see it with our own eyes. Second, we are the most generous country in the world. We admit over 1 million people to lawful permanent status. No one can suggest that we don't have an immigration system that already has rules and boundaries. The problem is that Joe Biden's Department of Homeland Security is not enforcing the laws, not enforcing the criminal laws at the border, and they're not even making a good faith attempt to try to decide who has legitimate asylum claims and who doesn't. And so right now, our doors are open. The world is coming in. We're seeing it play out before our eyes. And, it's affecting everybody, including I was just with the mayor of Miami today, and he said that they had 14,000 more students in their schools year over year. That's the equivalent of 7 new schools just in 1 year. I mean, it's extraordinary, the burden that every state and every city is bearing because of Joe Biden's failed policies and inability to enforce the laws at our border.
This is the big ongoing story here. Matthew Whitaker, thank you very much for being with us.
Yeah.
Appreciate it always. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. Good to see you.